That's okay.
Take two.
Yeah, take two. Thank you.
I took two.
Thanks.
Myself, and I was over with the rest of the council requesting to come before the Emergency Services Committee, and we got a presentation he wants to do, and hand it over to him.
At our last borough meeting, we spoke about the rise in crime. That was not something I didn't speak about before. We started talking about that in January, late January, February, things started to spike, and that leads us to today. So, I don't want to say now that I got everybody's attention, but we missed February, March, April. I didn't. We were on top of that as we were going along. We're looking at things, we're looking at different crimes, and we'll talk about some of the different crimes tonight and what the police department did to stop that problem. Okay, Chris. We talk about Part 1 crimes. That's what when I talk about the UCR, the Unified Crime Report that goes to state, that's what they talk about. Murder, rape, ag assault, theft, and burglaries. Next. So for Part 1 crimes, I'm going to go back to 2013. 2013, at this point of the year, June 2013, we had 173. And they went down the following year to 135. And then last year was terrific. We were way down. That's where part of my problem starts. We had a great last year. So when we start talking about percentages, this is where I start to have a problem. So now at this point in June 2016, we're at 128, which if you want to look back at 2013, we're in good shape. Yeah, we're up from last year. Would have loved to have stayed there. But we're still good compared to 2013. So we are down. You're going to see we'll start this even trend down a little more as we go. Okay, Chris, thanks. So when we talk about thefts, there are your thefts. Retail theft, bike theft, theft from inside buildings, theft from autos, and auto theft. Next. So, again, we go back to 2013. We're still down. But percentage-wise, compared to last year, we're up. So let's talk about the different thefts. We'll go month by month. January, we had 8 thefts. Things started out beautiful. February got ugly. That's when we spiked bad. And then March. We were having a lot of thefts from people's porches. And if you remember back, I talked about that. We arrested Donald Hardy. And we locked him up 3 times. Until finally Burns finally put him away for me. And things now have started to trend back down. Not real fast, but they started to trend back down. Next. Theft from autos. I have 21 for the year. All from unlocked vehicles. This past week, before I went on vacation, I drove down and saw one of our residents. His truck was broken into 3 different times. When I say broken into, it was left open 3 different times. He took money, he took his drugs, and the next time, I don't think they got anything. But we talked about it. And he was 3 for my month. Very hard to combat that. But talk to him about, remote. You got to make sure you have a battery in it. So there's certain things that, will make these numbers go down with cooperation of everybody and a little thought behind it. Next, auto thefts. Nobody talks about auto thefts anymore. We only have 6 so far for this year. Compared to going back to 2014, we had 33. So those numbers have done very well. Can I take credit for that? I'd like to. But some people are getting better, they're getting alarms, and some people are locking their cars up and not leaving them running. Remember our bad problem we had during winter time? Well, that doesn't happen anymore. Okay, we did very well with that. The Retail Fest. I have 24 Retail Fests. That's all counted in, those theft numbers. So please, I want someone to tell me at this point, what can I do about Retail Fests? There's nothing I can do about Retail Fests. So when I said at that last meeting, sometimes there's nothing I can do about crime. There's a big time example. It's there. We count them. Giant, Rite Aid's been getting killed. 7-Eleven, they throw the cigarettes at the back. That's nothing the police department can do. We can apprehend people, but to prevent it, we can't. No matter how aggressive you are, people are going to steal from Giant. They're going to walk right past. Or we have the people who we've locked up out of Giant, and I think we're probably up to 5 or 6 this year, that the cashiers take the money right out of their till. Hard to be a police department problem. Next, burglaries. Our burglaries have been pretty well consistent. And we've had 2 times that they've spiked. We've had like 10 a month. Well, remember this time last year, I had 10 for June. They killed me on sheds. Never locked anybody up for it. But that's why you'll see our percentage, like I gave everybody the stats today, our percentages are starting to go down again because we had a bad month last year. Now this year, we're getting better. Our burglaries. We'll talk about our burglaries for this year. January 2016, 1 unlocked shed. February, 1 resident with only narcotics taken. Got to think about that. Okay? This is what I mean. When you start thinking about crime, you also got to think about what happened and what got that person there and who lives there. But we still investigate it and we still claim it as a crime. We have 1 residence, that was a real burglary. They took electronics, jewelry, and we took DNA swabs out of the place. March 2016, we had a resident with a handgun taken from a lockbox under a bed. The owner pretty well told us who that was. I wasn't able to prove it, but that was a known doer. Unlocked shed from a vacant resident. A domestic boyfriend breaks into a girlfriend's house. That's still a burglary. And then we had 1 resident with the front door broken and nothing taken. April, this is where I started to spike in my burglaries. And we had about 10 or 12 of them between April and May. Unlocked sheds, businesses with leaving their doors open, an apartment that wasn't even related to the rest of them. Next one was the pizza place that got broken into with the front cracked plexiglass. Chinese place gets broken into because they left their back door open. I forget the next one. That was another business. But all those businesses were all in the area of Trenton and Belmore. So as this is happening, we're trending this. We're seeing this happening. We're putting plainclothes guys out there, and we're missing them. We're watching 2 o'clock, 1:30, we're putting people out there, and all of a sudden it takes a break, and 5 or 6 days later, now we're getting hit at 4:30 in the morning. And that's what happened again. They went into a business, we took DNA, a resident up here right along the river. Don't think she was the same guy. That was a whole different MO. But then the rest of them on there, they're all the same guy. And we got SAT officers out there at 4 o'clock in the morning being progressive, and we arrested Michael George. Now we go to burglaries in June. We have 1. And it's over here at the Morris Club Apartments. And that arrest has already been made on that burglary. So what we did, we stopped the problem. We identified the problem, and we stopped it. Now my arrest, I talked about my arrests are down. Very significantly, where are they down? They're down at my drugs. That may be part of my theft problem, because I'm not hitting these guys hard. And it's because Mike Pitcher's out hurt. So Mike Pitcher's out hurt, he's working inside, I now have to cover his shift. And I start running out of part-time guys. And that's my problem at this point. Hopefully Mike gets back, he went for a test today. Hopefully he gets back to work soon. I'm not hopeful of that. But in the meantime, we're trying to figure out how to get these, replace Mike with another officer so I can start hitting these guys with the drugs again. But that's where my main problem is. There's almost 36 right there out of 61. So I will be looking at that. And we're trying to figure out the best solution, come up with how to put more guys out there within the budget. Now we talk about the Morrisville Police Department. Where have we come in the last 2.5 years? I will tell you, you march all 38 police chiefs from across the county into this place, and they will tell you, we have changed 110% to being one of the best police departments in Bucks County right now. They will all come in and tell you how progressive we are and how much of a leadership stance we've taken in law enforcement now in the county. We have all new uniforms. We have new vehicles with modern equipment. The guys are out there with the AEDs and the first aid kits. We just saved another girl today. We have less lethal weapons. We have brand new firearms. We are either first or second department in Bucks County and have body cameras. I just ran in for more. Don't know where they're going to go. Our officers are going to training that they've never had before. I just sent our female officer to a class only based for females down in Atlantic City. We've had drug interdiction schools, we had investigation schools. We've had 2 times we've had active shooter classes. How many departments can say that? We're doing undercover work with other agencies. We have our websites up there. As all you know, you see me out there pedaling myself around. We're doing bike patrols now. We have computerized evidence systems. Our internal affairs. When I showed up here, there was no such thing as internal affairs records. Okay? All our officers have emails and voicemails. We're doing DNA collection. We have community interaction. We have a DARE certified officer. My officers have a 457 retirement plan that they never had before. The cars are being maintained. You see, we have a fleet of cars now that we never had before. The officers now can come in and know that they have a safe car to work in. We've promoted officers. We've hired new officers. We'll hire another part-time officer within the next week or 2. New schedules, new office computers. I have a list of 75 things we did. And I want to tell you, the department's open. I'm here most every day from 8 to 4. If you guys want to come in and look around and see what we have now compared to what we had 3 years ago, I'd be more than happy to give anybody a tour. I give the first graders tours. They like wearing my hats. But I'd love to, anytime you want to walk around the place, and I'll show you the computerized evidence collection system that we have. I mean, before, when I walked into this place, we had a file room that had files going back 30 years. They're all lined up for 7 years. It's a 7-year rule. They come in, they go out. Everything is organized. Everything's efficient. And we're up to the standards of the 21st century law enforcement. Media relations. Remember 3 years ago? Man, you guys had some bad articles. Not anymore. Everything that comes out of here is positive to the media. We have a very good working relationship with the Bucks County Courier-Times and the other newspapers. You're not going to see that. Next. County partnership. I'm the chief of the major incident response team. I'll be taking 40 guys down to the Democratic National Convention. Never had that before in the chief here. our CAD and our radio advisement committee. We are spending up to $4 million for a new radio and CAD, which is the computer aided for the radio. I'm on that committee. I'm on the Strategic Development Committee. This shows to the people in the rest of the county how progressive we are and what we mean to do and what we want to be involved in. Next. Our budgets, one of my favorite things, which I'm very good at. Aren't I, Ms. Smith? Ms. Smith, at the last budget meeting, asked me to give a budget meeting, or budget lessons to everybody. There's our budgets from 2014 into 2015 into 2016. We haven't gone up that much. And actually, going into 2016, we went down $8,000. Even though I had contractual agreements that I had to go along with, which were raises in the medical, raises in the police salaries. But in 2014, we were $106,000 below budget. In 2015, we were $233,000 below budget. And I tend to be that way for 2016 too, even though we've gotten the best equipment for the officers to serve you out there. Next. Attorney fees. I didn't really know what to put for 2013, because I kept on hearing all these wonderful numbers that were out there from before, that we spent $350,000, we spent $200,000. I didn't know. So I put that number up there. Do you think that's correct, Vic?
The new number?
No, the old number for 2013. Okay, let's move on.
Oh, I know.
All right, hold on, no, I'm sorry, go back. So for 2014, we still were spending money to close out that investigation. Going to 2015, we spent $8,200. Going June 2016, so far this year, we spent $2,200 on lawyer fees. I'd much rather give my guys equipment than spend it on attorneys. I'm sure the attorneys don't like to hear that. But that shows you how things are in the police department. Things are settled. And we don't have to be calling the lawyers saying, what if? Can I do this? And plus you have, I will not call them until I research everything a ton before I go to them. And obviously, I don't even know what I spent $2,200 on, but that could have been the borough asking questions for the police. But I think that's pretty good, considering I think I'm budgeted $20,000 for this. Next. Crime tips. You're going to see there's going to be vacation crime tips and regular crime tips. Most of you are going to say this is common sense. Lock your vehicles. Don't leave your valuables visible. Chain and lock your bikes. Lock your sheds. Lock your first floor windows when you're not at home or when you're in bed. Does anybody know the little crime problem they're having over in Lower Makefield right now? 7 nighttime burglaries through the first floor and clearing the place out. Clearing it out. 60-inch TVs. I mean, they're having a grand old time over there. Outdoor cameras. Outdoor motion floodlights. Alarm systems. Trim your foliage around your windows. The bushes and trees that block the windows. Be a good neighbor. Notify police rather than social media of suspicious activity. Call 911. Don't put it on Facebook first. You can do that second if you want to, but call us and get us in the room first, please. All right. Vacation. Crime tips. Notify us that you're going on vacation. Tell your neighbors. Stop your mail and your papers. Have one of your neighbors pick up your advertisements that get thrown in your driveway. Timers. Use different timers in different parts of the house. Have your neighbor park the car in your driveway. Put a radio on a timer. Don't leave your outside lights on during the day. And last, this is a real big one. Don't post on social media that your family is away on vacation, and don't post your pictures from Disney World while you're there. Oh. And community notifications. Something we didn't have 3 years ago was Nixle. We do now. Nixle will only be used for emergency messages. Only. Public safety, shelter in place, active shooter, weather emergencies. The Morrisville Police website that we have will be used for UCR crime statistics. They're on there every month. When I just handed out to everybody, they're on there every month. And various other information from one of the people, all kinds of things are on there. Your Facebook, that will have, and this is something that just, I'll be the first one to admit, I just started this to make sure it's on there every week now. You will get your crime logs on that page every week. I'm trying to do it every Tuesday. If Judy's out on Tuesdays, you're going to have it till Wednesday. But it's going to be there. Okay, and you'll see on those that it should be in chronological order, but every once in a while you'll see going back 2 or 3 weeks, arrest of Joe Blow. Well, that's because we just got some lab work in and we just filed the paperwork. Okay? So there's all our information to call. Okay? Anybody, here's my email address. I'm on there all the time. They go right to me. So one other, one thing I always want to talk about robberies. Our robberies you're going to see on there, your crime stats. We've had 5 this year. This month we've had 2. We had a gentleman that was robbed of his bike up at Maple and Taft. 3 arrests right away. Mike Danny got all 3 right then. What was the other one? For the kids. No, that was the previous one. Oh, the other one, that was his second of the month. We had a home invasion robbery, which I bet nobody even knows about. That was down on Pennsylvania Avenue. I'm not going to give much more than that. But you people weren't in danger. And why I say that is because we waited a couple days. We knew who our complainant was. Waited a couple days, and we locked him up with a ton of meth. So, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what that home invasion robbery was about. Now, if I knew that that had something to do, and he was going to be doing that to somebody else, I'd make sure everybody knew about that. But that was something we had to keep down so we would get him. All right? There's things just don't happen because we're watching them. Chris locked up a couple kids at the canal on the other robbery. We've had a couple jobs that, yeah, they're robberies, but I got a guy that's robbed at 4 o'clock in the morning, and you ask him, can you give me a description of the guys? No, I can't. Well, I'm not really even sure whether it happened here or it happened around the corner. Robbery, yeah, we have the count as a robbery, but do you think you guys are in danger on that job? No. So they're the things, we watch. We know which jobs we've got to make sure we get after people. So that's why I talk about emergency notification. Okay? These are the stats that you have here. These are up to date as of July 1st. The only thing that's not in there are a couple dollars and fines that they don't come in for a couple of weeks, but I figured I wanted to get this out to you so you had something in hand tonight to look at. This is on the website every month. Questions?
I have several.
Shoot.
First, let's start with the reason of this meeting. The Emergency Services Committee, as told to me by the chair himself, was created to mediate disputes between the 2 firehouses. Obviously, that does not exist anymore. We haven't had a meeting since I've been on the committee this year old. 3 days after the last council meeting, which was an absolute travesty, I sent an email to both the chief and to the mayor. A very respectful email. I have copies here if anybody would like to see them. I had concerns over the crime statistics that were put out by the chief. I had concerns with the tone of the meeting. and I expressed them in a respectful manner in my email. I asked if I could meet with the chief and the mayor and offer any assistance I could as a council person representing the residents of Marshville Borough to try and help with the crime problem. And it is a crime problem. If the statistics are what they say they are, it is a problem. I did not receive a reply from either the chief or the mayor. Now, this is a mayor who himself has complained about communication between council and the mayor's office.
Yes. Mayor, for a
I
second, please.
didn't finish speaking, Chief.
Okay, well,
You just had 20 minutes to speak. I would like to speak.
This is, I'm
No,
asking for
it's my turn
questions.
to talk, Chief.
You have a
You
question?
spoke for 20 minutes.
You have a
You didn't
question?
have the decency to reply to a sitting councilman who was concerned about his own constituents and what was going on in the borough. You didn't have the decency to answer me, and neither did you. So I want to get that out. Now, all of a sudden, the Emergency Services Committee meets tonight, and we go through this dog and pony show. That's wonderful. That's really wonderful.
That's very disrespectful.
That's disrespectful? Ignoring the sitting councilman is disrespectful. Okay? I have a lot of other questions that I'd like to ask. Okay? Now, you know I've treated you with respect since the day you walked in the door.
No, you haven't.
I haven't?
No.
Okay. Fine. I'm not gonna make this personal, I'm gonna make this about crime and numbers.
Okay, do that. Please ask a
I will.
question. You haven't asked a question yet.
I have a question. Crime is up, this was as of the last council meeting, 43%.
Correct.
Okay? That wasn't just a small number, it jumped from 62 to 109. That's a significant increase. Now, I don't understand the tone.
What's 62 to 109?
That's your crimes, your part one crimes between 2015 and 2016 year to date. Those are your numbers. That's a significant increase. And you said it yourself, I just did it in front of the podium. Okay? Now, the thinking and the message that's being sent out is because we did so well, and we did well the first 2 years, nobody's arguing with it, that this spike in crime is supposed to be expected. I don't get it. I don't agree with that, and I don't understand any police commander or any police official standing in front of this community saying, we had 2 good years, and now it's on the way up. It's supposed to happen. It's not supposed to happen. And it's your job to make sure it doesn't happen. And I just don't like the tone that's being put out there. It puts people in jeopardy. It jeopardizes people's safety. Giving people a false sense of security, and you're also giving the impression, and this is what I've heard from numerous constituents, that you don't have any answers and you don't care. That's what's being put forward.
So your question and all that
My
was...
question is, which was in my email that you ignored, was what is the plan to combat the rising crime, 43% rising?
The plan is that we've also put out we've asked for cameras, for everybody to get cameras. That was one of the suggestions that we did. We've asked over and over about locking your vehicles, about locking your homes, crime tips. And if you know, being a former law enforcement professional, you know you look back over history. Crime goes up, crime goes down. Crime goes up, crime goes down.
Right.
Just like I said, sometimes there's nothing you can do about crime. Which you took me out of context and
I
said,
didn't take you out of context.
Chief says there's nothing he can do about crime. Where I talked about retail theft. That's the stuff I can't do anything about.
There's things you can do about retail theft, you know. You can work with the people that run those stores, you can work with their loss prevention teams, you can give crime prevention classes, you can do that as well as I do. We did in New York, I'm sure they did it.
Okay, well, here you go. I do. I'm a first-name basis with the man from Giant.
Great.
Okay, here's the
Exactly.
problem. Things are different from when you were a police officer.
Okay.
Because what they do now is they go, there's the door stop.
Absolutely, I know that.
And they don't chase them
I
down,
understand.
and they don't apprehend them like they used to.
Absolutely.
You couldn't get out of Home Depot if you had a spark plug in your pocket 10 years ago. Now it's on security monitor.
Exactly.
So there's not a whole lot you can do.
No, but there is something.
Well, I'm looking, I
I
have suggestions, I wrote
appreciate
down suggestions here. I want to write those down. Those things, there's really not a whole lot. But just like, the theft from the vehicles, I'm out there on my bike now. I'm stopping at people's houses. Doors are open. I'm beating the horn. Oh, door's open. Bill's house the other day. Beating his horn. Yo, Bill, all your referee stuff's out here. You can't do that. So there's some of the prevention.
Prevention is important.
Right, and that's what we're talking about. But crime does go up and crime does go down. I can't stop people's morals, but I put aggressive guys out there when you start tracking the crime. Just like Comstat. What was Comstat about? You got the numbers, you saw where the crime was, you put your guys in the right place.
Right.
That's what
Also
we
on-
have
Also
done.
with Comstat, the police commanders were pulled on the carpet, and they were told, your numbers are up 43%, what are you doing about it?
Right, just what I said to
They
you.
didn't stand there and say, well, they were down
My crime, and I
50%
did.
last year.
And at the last meeting, I talked about the gentleman we locked up for burglaries,
Right,
and obviously, they stopped.
right,
We put the guys in the right place.
absolutely. And just for the record, I just want to make this clear, you have cops that will run through this wall for this community. You have incredible cops. All they need is a plan, and like you said, put them in the right place, and they've shown they can make a difference.
Right,
I know that, I know that.
right, so we have made the difference. We have stopped the
But the
burglaries.
problem was that message was not put out last month.
Oh, yes, it was. If you want to look at it, it was on
I
video.
watched it, trust
I
me.
watched it 3 or 4 times, and I talked about putting Mike and Andy out there at 4:30 at the bridge.
I'm looking at it, yeah.
So I
But
talked
you
about
also
it.
stated, I did not take you out of context.
You did.
No, I did not.
I
You
said,
watched it
my
many
words
times.
were, sometimes there's nothing you can do about crime. I never said, there's nothing I can do about crime.
Those were your exact words of the video, and anybody go back to the video.
I did.
Whether that's what you meant
But
or
we
not,
are,
that's
we
how
are,
it
we
came.
are out there every day. I have 2 officers on the street, 24 hours a day.
I know.
If council would like to come up with another $100,000 or
If I could
$200,000,
do it, I would do it.
we will put more officers on the street. I have given them the equipment, I've given them the training. They are ready, they're willing to go out there and do it. But sometimes, you have 2 guys on the street, 2 miles away, at 4:30 in the morning.
I understand.
We got people walking the streets at 4:30 in the morning.
Yes, I know.
And you can't stop people from walking down the canal, because they're black and they have a flashlight in their hand. Right, so I won't violate people's civil rights. Right. So there's a fine line you have to play. So we're out there working, we're reacting to crimes, just like with the 43% increase. We went out there and we stopped that person. And it stopped. We had 1 in June. And that person was arrested right away. So we're out there, we're working, we're aggressive.
Trust me, I do not doubt for a second that our cops are working. I know they are. I know they're incredible cops. Trust me, you know, that's not my point. My point was the tone of the last meeting.
Well, I was angry at that last meeting. There's no doubt
I
about
was
it.
angry too, but
Yeah.
I showed you the respect of not asking you all these questions that you're trying to blindside me. I instead sent an email, and I even kept the rest of the council out of it. I kept it between the 3 of us.
Well, that's why the presentation here tonight. Because,
Somebody could have answered.
what's that?
Somebody could have answered.
Okay, well, you know how the chain goes. I'm not gonna throw the mayor under the bus, but he has a chain,
Okay.
and that's the way
As
that
far as
goes.
this chain of command which keeps coming up, I addressed it to the mayor as well.
Okay.
Does the mayor tell you who you can talk to at this point?
But now, the way the chain goes is that the council people, every night, the mayor comes to me with problems. We came to me with problems, and I think the best way to solve this is to have this meeting, so everybody, your contingents, your people here will be able to see this, because I'm not hiding anything. And,
This chain of command that everybody claims exists, the chain of command within the Morrisville Police starts with the mayor as far as day-to-day operations of the police department. And if I'm wrong, please let me know. If it concerns crime, well, like we had last time, an incident where there was a dangerous condition that was existing, the chain of command does not exist. I can go to either you, I can go to a police officer, I can go to anybody I feel necessary who can address it. I do not have to go to the mayor and ask him if I can talk to you. That chain of command does not exist.
you can dial 911 anytime you want.
Absolutely.
You're
But that
a
email wasn't a 911 email.
Okay.
It was just a discussion that was like that. Whatever, it's gone, so.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand the 43% of the last meeting, I was at the last meeting, but was it a surprise to council?
No.
Were they receiving those numbers that night, or did they already know that?
Every council gets these stats every month.
Thank you.
And we started talking about it in February, and I was kind of surprised when people went, whoa, there's a rate. That wasn't a surprise, that was out there. And I knew in February I got my tail handed to me. Confess. Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to address this to the chain of command. Mayor Ravella, you ignored an email from one of city council person.
Well, that's your opinion. I actually responded with an email.
It was
All
not my
the
opinion, it was a
council-
question.
I don't understand the question.
You ignored an email from a city council person?
No, I addressed it in my way.
You chose not to address it.
Well, that's, see,
Okay.
that's your opinion.
That's what you're saying.
No, ma'am, that's not at all.
You're saying Councilman Bill Papatone is not telling the truth and that you did answer the email?
That's a whole other question.
Is this a one-question deal here? I'm only allowed to ask one question?
No, but you're changing the question.
Mayor
Listen, how about I
Ravella, did
explain?
you ignore an email from a city council person?
I do not believe I ignored an email from this. We are here tonight because of the email. And I put that in another email that all council got, said, you know what, I received this
So you
email,
did.
and I want this.
You answered the
I
question.
would like
Thank
to
you.
address
Thank you, Mayor
I
Ravella.
would like to address this publicly.
Excuse me, is anyone speaking to you?
No back and forth. No back and forth.
You're talking to the wrong
No back and
person,
forth,
Ted.
no back and forth, all right? Ask questions and that's it, no back and forth.
Did you hear that, ladies?
Ma'am, what the mayor said was that
I heard what you were saying.
Can you repeat that though?
Yeah, could you, because if you do it again, you'll be-
what I said was the mayor said that he addressed all the council. From the one email from one council person of tonight's meeting.
I heard that,
Okay.
and I understood, and I understand the implication. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Sir?
The UCR, prior to working in the code department,
I cannot,
could we go back and see a 10-year trend?
I would have to pull all the jobs out of the computer.
So that would be what we
Yes, it's very.
you said you're short one officer. Is the overtime an issue?
Well, I have to replace Mike on the street. So I'm taking a part-time officer and replacing him, where a lot of times I would have been able to have that extra part-timer throw out there to trucks.
So we're short.
Yes.
Is there a task force approach on the road committee? Or do you pay a lower make officer for some, or any?
No, I can't. That task force, they talked about that county task force that Mike was, that is just officers all working together from different departments. So could I bring them in? Yeah, but it's gonna cost money. But just like here. So what I'm hoping is I get through the summertime and then we start kicking ass again on drugs.
Mr. President, that's another plan, that was going to be one of my questions. Address that. How can you as a resident, outside of the things you did, if anything else, what can you do to help?
Call us. Call us when you see something. And then be okay that, here's a prime example. I called the other day, it was one of my old crossing guards. Black lady in the car, please investigate her on Osborne Street. So I pull up, and I talked to her for a couple minutes. I know who she is. She lives right here in Presbyterian Towers. People think that we didn't do anything. Well, she wasn't doing anything wrong. So please watch and observe. So if you have a 70-year-old lady who's sitting in a car, she's not doing anything. But watch her, continue watching people, and then call us when they get suspicious. And be very specific, telling police radio what they are doing. So that was a suspicious black woman in a car.
A lot of folks, the threshold, well, I would never call it that, some people would call it. Is this something you could put out again? I think you have to just let the folks know, air others under caution.
Well, I'm fine.
If it's nothing, you don't care.
We don't, because we have no problem responding to any call. So if you think something's suspicious, call us, by all means. But just realize that sometimes there's nothing we can do. We can't violate people's rights if they're just sitting in a car. We're saying a 75-year-old lady who lives in Presbyterian homes. We're not going to do anything to her. Or it's a person walking up the canal. You know, watch people. Okay? No problem. Call us anytime. And call the 911 number. Realize, and I don't know if everybody knows this, the 911 phone is here, and the 811 number is here. It's the same person. So if you don't hesitate on calling the 911. Man,
Chief McClay, you say that, but on different occasions, you have reprimanded citizens. At the last meeting, you lost your temper, you didn't like what was said by a resident on the paper, I believe it was in the paper, when there were 2 Morrisville residents arrested from the Bridge Street incidents, you referred to them as Morrisville finest. Obviously, that wasn't a compliment. You complained about people calling in for Bernie Sanders signs. You have reprimanded citizens for not locking their cars. You're giving mixed messages here.
no, I'm not.
Yeah,
No, I'm
you
not.
are. You are. I'm telling you how it's being perceived.
Okay, well, maybe, listen, please. I didn't say the guy with the Bernie Sanders sign shouldn't have called. What I said right up there was that I had to count that as a theft. That's what I'm
And
talking
so
about.
the message is, don't call for this,
No.
call for that.
No, that was explanations from council of why,
You and I spoke about that also on the telephone.
right, for an hour,
Right,
while I was on my vacation.
right.
Right. That was an explanation to council of why the theft numbers are where they are. So what I was saying was, that is not a huge, life-threatening crime. Okay? What Kurt said up there the other day about that was a gunpoint robbery at 7-Eleven.
I didn't mention that. You pointed at 7-Eleven. I did not mention that.
And
It's a different
it doesn't matter, he has the right to speak at a council meeting, even if he's wrong, without the repercussions of your anger, or having a tablet thrown
What
at him.
repercussions, what repercussions did he have? I stood there and looked at him, and I spoke to him.
It's on, Mayor, Chief, it's on tape.
Okay, I know, I stood there,
It's on
I watched
tape.
it, I stood there and I directed my comments to him. That wasn't made to everybody else. So that's a big difference from saying, observe people, dial 911. I have no problem, we'll come out and take any report, we're going to investigate it and tell you whether this is really a crime.
Chief McClay, you had on more than one occasion said to me, call instead of posting on Facebook. You didn't like
Yes.
things that I posted. Call me, call me. Yet you did not give a sitting council person the respect of returning his email.
That was for the mayor to do that.
Well, okay, then you've made that clear. Thank you.
I made that clear twice.
Yeah,
But
you have.
you called the other day, left a message on my answering machine, and I called you and talked to you for over an hour.
Yes, you did. An
you
hour
were-
and a half.
Right, and you were very shocked to find out I was on vacation.
I was. I was appreciative of your phone
Right,
call,
and
and
I-
I said so.
And did I tell you I was on vacation?
At
No.
some point, I knew you
No,
were.
you
Oh, no,
called-
I called the
You
borough. I
called
called the borough
downstairs
back.
because
You're
your
right.
phone died and went, oh, he's on vacation.
Yes. I told you not to.
That tells you, I should tell you a little bit about my commitment, okay? To
Your
this
commitment
borough.
is not an issue. I don't think
Okay.
anyone questions your commitment. No one questions your ability to run this police force. How you treat us, residents, you say you're not political. We're losing that faith that you're not. That's one, because of this type of thing happening.
Well, I set the rules out. I set the rules about how I deal with the council people. Does any of these guys ever walk into my office? No, they don't. And it's made it a lot easier being able to run the police department when I don't have 8 people from that council talking to my officers and doing all kinds of things backdoor. That's what went on 3 years ago. And I couldn't have that. I work for the people of Morrisville. I report to the mayor. I do not report to council. So it was very easy and very efficient for the council to go to the mayor and the mayor to come to me. It leaves a lot of the politics out of this, and that's what I don't want to be involved in.
Okay, that's fair enough, and I appreciate that. Then I can be led to believe you have not answered an email from any council person, not from Ted Parker, from Vic. You haven't answered any of their emails, is that correct?
Vic doesn't have an email.
I believe that.
Ted Parker, I can't remember the last time I talked to Ted Parker.
Okay, I just wanted, so it's true, you haven't answered any council person's
I have
email.
other ones back there. When was the last time you sent me an email? Yeah, it doesn't happen. And I'll tell you, it really makes my life easier. And it keeps me out of it. It keeps my officers. I told my officers, come to me with a problem, I go to the mayor, and if the mayor has to go to the council over a budget issue, that's what happens. But if not, I don't want them going to the mayor, and I don't want them going to the council people. It sends wrong messages. That's what,
I appreciate that. We don't want to go back to what we had.
I would never let you.
We are afraid of going back to what we had.
With what you see up here, and people having meetings like this, do you think that could ever happen?
Well, when I hear what happened here, yes, that scares me, because that's old school, that's the townies doing what townies do. That's what they did before,
There's a lot of politics
And
that
that-
goes on in this town, there's no doubt about it. No doubt
that's
about
what
it.
they did before, and that's what they're starting to do again.
Well, it doesn't happen with the police department. Okay, the police department does not play politics. We are apolitical. I tell my guys, you can't go out there and solicit for politicians. You can't do that. You've got to be within the police department. Ma'am,
I'd just like to reiterate that the structure you have set out is actually reinforced in the Pennsylvania Borough Code, which should govern how council and the